Good morning and welcome back to the Claret and Blue podcast. Do not adjust your sets. It's only me, Mat Kendrick, unfortunately, for you today. What's going to happen? We do have some big breaking news, and that is an exclusive for myself that Villa are set to sign Wolves midfielder Joao Gomes in the coming days, should we say. He's leaving the training camp that Wolves have got over in Portugal, and that's to finalise a move to Villa after talks accelerate between the two clubs. Matt, firstly, how are you and your immediate thoughts on this transfer?
Yeah, I'd like to start by congratulating you on the scoop. I've already seen.
I thought you were going to say promotion to the hot seat.
I saw you tweeted it out. I don't know, 5-10 minutes ago, and lots of, I don't know what the modern parlance is now. JT at the back post, is it, and that kind of stuff. So
I'd be useful at the back post. Useful.
Yeah,
I mean useless. Sorry, not useful.
They're not easy to come by, exclusives, especially Villa can be quite guarded. So I think my last one was probably Ender Stevens arriving from Shamrock Rovers. So this one excites me a little bit more than that. Listen, we've probably been scrambling around and doing a bit of homework and bringing ourselves up to speed on him. I think it's very shrewd of Villa. I think, we're obviously still licking our wounds a little bit about the Tielemans news that came out of nowhere earlier this week. So I think that Villa are being proactive. We might not have known about Tielemans until the last minute, but they clearly did. So they're looking at what we can do to boost that engine room, particularly with Onana being injured. I think physically he looks like he's a slightly different profile from certainly Amadou Onana anyway. I mean, I know it's still kind of raw and the news has only just broken or you've only just broken the news in the last few minutes, but are you excited about the potential of this lad?
Yeah, he's a good player. And from what I've seen whenever he plays for Wolves, it was always him and Andre, the other Brazilian player. There was a game that stuck out for me when they beat Spurs away, which, to be fair, everyone does. So maybe it's not that impressive. But I remember watching some analysis of that game specifically. I think it was a 2-1 win or maybe a 3-1 win. I can't quite remember. But they kept hitting him on the counter-attack. But Joao Gomes and Andre were really good as a partnership in that game. Quite ratty and always at the Spurs midfielders at the heels. And he's clearly got some quality. The one thing that stuck out for me when we played them as well was that I assumed that was one of his better games last season, because before the match, I was listening to some bits and bobs from Wolves podcasters and different things. And it was literally the case of, well, if Joao Gomes turns up, then great. But let's see if he does. Because I think last season it felt like for Wolves fans that he maybe knew that he was off. I mean, Wolves were going down, weren't they, by the time Halloween came around? So can't really blame him. But at the same time, I think we saw a better Joao Gomes against us, probably because he's playing against a good team. It's Molyneux under the lights won it, so kind of got it for that one. There's definitely a player in there, and I assume Champions League football playing under Unai Emery, playing for a much, with respect to Wolves, but a much better team around him. Well, then that should get the best out of him. So for that reason, I think that we can be excited by it. The move is, at least I'm led to believe, it's around £35 million. I'm not sure if there's going to be, or if that's including add-ons, but that's kind of a package number. So, again, not a cheap transfer. That's Youri Tielemans' value, isn't it? Of course. I think you would say this is more of a Tielemans replacement than an Onana replacement, but equally you'd probably blend the two a little bit as well, in the way that Gomes can obviously get across the pitch better than what Tielemans could. Tielemans didn't need to do that, did he? Because everything, he was always one step ahead. Whether he can fill that void in terms of creativity, let's see. It'll be interesting to see what sort of Wolves fans can give us as information about what sort of player Villa are trying to now sign. Good age profile as well, 25 years old. So, ticks the boxes for me.
I've just reaching out to Birmingham Live Claret and Blue sources. Just asked my mate who's a Wolves fan. I said, how good is he? Good, but he'd be the bloke who play with Tielemans, not the bloke who replaces him. So, it's going to be a new look Aston Villa midfield, regardless. I think, this sounds probably a little bit sentimental and stuff, but I think we need, as Villa fans and as England fans and as football fans, I think we needed a boost this morning, JT. So you're doing God's work, I think. It's a new signing, he's fresh, and until we see him play, we've got to be excited, I think. I've just done a check. My other friend, Gemini AI, he's nicknamed the Pitbull. I mean, I think I look more like Pitbull than Eagle, to be honest. But that suggests that it's going to bring that kind of that energy and that almost like that. I don't know, really. Just somebody who's going to buzz around and create a lot of, not give the opposition a minute's peace, really.
Yeah, and I think that's what we have probably been missing from a midfielder. I mean, you can imagine. I mean, this is exciting now, isn't it? So, how can we construct this midfield? Because now we have Manzambi, who I think we know will play in a more advanced role. I mean, he can play as a 6 as well, or as a number 8, but let's stick him as a 10 or on the left for now. You have Joao Gomes, you have Kamara in there as well. You have McGinn that can come in. I mean, it's not a nice midfield to play up against, is how I would view that. I don't know if Villa are going to look to do another midfielder on top of this, because you say it's really interesting that we haven't replaced Onana simply by his profile, or Tielemans simply by his profile as well. And both things, I must say, are very hard to do. So in a way, I don't think we can be too surprised. But you can always shave off, some talent on a player that's similar to Tielemans and hope that he gets better. If this is what we're going to do with Joao Gomes and bring someone in that's just a different sort of player altogether, but take aspects from different parts of those players, then that is interesting. What I would say as well is that obviously when Emery came into the club, he didn't make too many additions to our team, did he? And for that reason, he can obviously in our structure amend or tweak different things to fit certain players, if that makes sense. He didn't spend loads of money in Villarreal, hasn't brought in loads of players, or at least when he joined straight away, didn't, overhaul the squad and think, well, I need these 4 players to fit exactly what I need. He obviously brought in Alex Moreno at left back, which, helped transform us. But for kind of the main part of the team, that sort of stuck together. And that's interesting. So it's not like we have to have a Tielemans like player, we have to have an Onana like player. I think we can probably tweak things, and that's something which is probably more exciting than what meets the eye for a player like Joao Gomes, who again can play in different roles and do different things. So I definitely think the move, as I said before, ticks boxes. And again, it's not cheap for Villa, but I would say in the grand scheme of things, it's probably a good deal if this is a player who can, earn a place more regularly, should we say, in the Brazil team, and play well in the Champions League. He's increasing his value already.
I think it just seems like the natural next phase of the Emery evolution, really. I think even, although we had such a fantastic end to last season with us, qualifying for the Champions League twice by getting over the line in the Premier League and then that fantastic night in Istanbul, I think we knew in advance of that, and that probably I don't know whether it kind of put the blinkers on us, but I think we knew that there was going to have to be an evolution anyway. I think it's funny because me, you, and Dan in recent weeks have been like, "Oh, can we do a podcast? A bit tumbleweed. There's nothing happening." I'm like, "Well, just wait till the end of the World Cup or whatever, and it'll, and the news will come." And so it is. But I wonder, we've got to get. I keep going on about it. We've got to get the age profile down. The 2 signings that we've made are on the brink of making very much do that. Is this going to be an Emery team that presses a bit faster and a bit higher, is a bit more aggressive, has a bit more energy? At the moment, Villa can do that on the transition and they can break quickly, but it's still a very methodical, kind of slow build up, keep the ball. And listen, I'm not sure Emery's going to completely rip up his tactical master plan straight away.
Yeah.
But I do get the sense that we are going to be looking for this, I don't know, quicker, more mobile, more aggressive way of playing going forward.
Yeah, I totally agree. And it's something, again, I think that we should be excited by. It's hard to pin down exactly what it's going to look like because I think there's different variations that we can play here. I don't think Villa are anywhere near done in terms of adding to their squad in general, but also in terms of the forward areas, because again, it's nice to have those options of Manzambi, Kamara. You also got Barkley still at the club at the moment. Bogart's still here. I think there's certainly areas where we can improve still going forward. We need a right winger. For me, we probably need a left winger as well. I think you need 2 players per position for those 3 roles behind the striker. But now you have a bit more depth in that midfield should Gomes complete its formalities and join. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Again, not shocked in the way. I just thought maybe we would have replaced an Onana by a more possibly obvious like profile. For example, we know that Villa like
He's Big Vic.
Palhinha.
Does Big Vic become that though in terms of
Yeah,
the physical size of the man? I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Actually, it's easy to forget Lindelof, but he did so well at the back end of last season. He almost became that Kamara replacement that we've been screaming out for such a long time. To be fair,
just reading some of the comments here. Dan Druffu in the comments. I'm liking the word energy. Does he have a goal in him? Well, he had one in him last year. The one goal that he scored in the Premier League was that horrible night at Molineux when one of the Premier League's worst ever seen teams gave us a bit of a going over. I think he's got quite a few yellow cards in him now.
Yeah.
Whether that comes, I think it's probably a combination of two things last season. One, the way he plays, being very aggressive and on the front foot, probably playing in a team that was doomed for relegation as well. Might make you susceptible to those yellow cards. I was chatting to you before we came on air that there's probably more examples of it in recent memory, but Villa used to do this, like, let's say several times during the 90s, sign the best players from relegated teams. I remember Mark Draper came from relegated Leicester, I think, and obviously was a pivotal part of Brian Little's squad in the mid-90s. I think we signed Alan Thompson and Sasa Churchic as well from relegated Bolton. Mixed feelings about those two. Tomo was good. Churchic not so good. So listen, it's. I mean, I don't want to be detrimental to Villa, but he's almost this like the kind of pond that we have to fish in to a degree. Kind of up and coming player. Like that. No, I don't mean that you just kind of have everybody's kind of sloppy seconds, for want of a better phrase. But I'm just thinking, listen, we are susceptible, aren't we? We've seen it with the Tielemans thing. We've seen it with the speculation about Rodgers. We're probably a couple of years away if Emery can keep reinventing us from being able to kind of poach players from the big clubs. So we are going to have to go to, I don't know, lesser clubs in England or lesser clubs in Europe. That probably is our place in the food chain. Yeah,
and I think that's fine because we've proven that we can do those things and be very successful, more successful than other clubs. It's interesting because only some weeks ago were we saying we can't even afford to buy players from teams who have been relegated. So as we said before, obviously we needed to sell to buy, and that doesn't always look like literally a player leaves and a player joins. It can be or that you hear about news of a arrival then a departure, but obviously Villa need to make money to spend money. Just quickly on Gomes as well, Matt, so some decent stats that I've digged out here. Last season in the Premier League he won the second most tackles, and the season before that he won the most tackles in the Premier League, which that describes his game pretty well. And then in Europe's Big Five leagues, he won the fourth most tackles last season, and then the season before the first most tackles. So 78 tackles across the Premier League season, the one before last, and then 68 last season. So again, I think that's probably part of being a team who doesn't have the ball as much as what we would have, but certainly a player who can break up play. I mean, if he was to play with Kamara, that's, I'd hope anyway, a bit of a sort of impenetrable wall in front of your back four. So how that works and how that plays out, let's see. Again, should Gomes complete his move, I must stress. But yeah, fascinating move, I think. And Villa are starting to show their teeth in this market now. I expect more to happen. Again, we need reinforcements going forward. For me, we need 2 new fullbacks. Garcia should be completing his move to Getafe if he hasn't already. I don't think that's been confirmed just yet. That's a loan. And then obviously Luca Dean, that should be wrapped up. Maybe, if not this weekend, then by early next week, possibly to PSG. So Villa looking to bring in a right back, a left back. They need a right winger for my money, and also probably another winger after that, and that's before any departures. But as you've said there, Matt, Villa are working in a different sort of way to their rivals, but ultimately, I think that we'll just have a strong squad come the summer, however that looks. Come the end of the summer, and that we'll be okay next season to compete across all fronts. That has to be the aim and the goal. And one last thing I'll say about Gomez as well is that I always say this: looking at his injury record, there isn't really one there, which is great. He obviously plays a lot of games for Wolves, but rarely misses games unless it's through suspensions.
Don't jinx it, FFS.
What have I done? What have I done?
There's a couple more people in the, probably labouring the point that I've made in terms of, Villa's place in the pecking order, if you like. A couple of people say, yeah, we signed Hadji and Keshloul from Cov when they went down years ago. Tielemans himself arrived when Leicester went down. And lots of the fundamentals or the foundations of the squad that Dean Smith built were from championship level. So I think we trust Emery, don't we, to get some of these kind of unpolished gems, to work his magic on them. Mat Kendrick just called Wolves pond life. I was a bit too close to Wolves fans to get embroiled in that. Where's Dan? Imagine if all this was just an elaborate route and he wasn't Joao Gomes whatsoever. Just Dan came back in a wig.
This was just a big test. Oh, we're live. I didn't mean to.
Yeah, we're just testing the technology. Yeah, just ignore all of the above. So, I mean, listen, it's got properly up and running, hasn't it, this week? The transfer window, certainly for Villa. We got the first friendly, I believe, next week. England's involvement in the World Cup is sadly over.
You know what? Because of what's happened this morning, that's completely gone over my head. I completely forgot that was last night. I don't know about you. Probably different. I don't know.
It's quite a good way to, I wouldn't say get over it because it's still raw, but I think today with this Gomez news probably very much announces right. Summer's done now in terms of international football. Yeah. The Villa are back. It's given me a spring in my step, John, to be honest. I just want, it's been weird in recent summers. Well, I say recent summers, last summer particularly.
Yeah.
Everything was so last minute that, and we probably did have false excitement with the last bit of business that Villa did, even though ultimately it didn't really pay off much for us. But it feels like we're going through a transition. It feels like whatever we see, and we trust Emery that what we see is going to be good. But it feels like it's going to be different.
Yeah, no, I agree, and you're right in saying that it's the window was kicked off, and this was always going to happen after the World Cup or once players were knocked out of the World Cup. So yeah, as I say, more to come from Villa. Hopefully, this Joao Gomes move gets finalised in the coming days, and we can move on and continue to bolster the team. I think are we done, Matt? Here. I mean, there'll be much more.
Just a quick word to Mark the England thing last night. Obviously,
go on.
Rodgers, at that time, it looked like I think the decision to start with Rodgers was vindicated. Although I did think that had it been another 5 minutes without that goal, I thought that he might have been one of the ones who was hauled off. But cracking ball, and at that time we thought, well, actually, we might see 2 or 3 Villa players involved in a World Cup final. Then I suppose Conser will be part of the fall guys for the collapse, won't he? We bought and played a back five, and I think it was it Conser and we got 3 centre halves effectively on the pitch, and your man's got in between 2 of them.
Yeah,
Conser and John Stones, and I don't know. It just felt very. I don't know what we should have enough quality players on that pitch still before he's made the changes to try and say, okay, we know what's coming here. We've got to try and take stock and try and get some possession of the football. They retreated. They almost retreated. I can't remember what it looked like when Argentina kicked off after that Anthony Gordon goal. But did England already line up with the 11 players on the edge of the penalty area as soon as they kicked off? Because
I know. For me, it was completely on Tuchel. I was, at the time anyway, really angry about what we were doing because I thought this is exactly what we've brought this manager in to do, to be a specialist, to get over the line and be tactically sound. And all we did was do exactly what we did against Mexico, which then was understandable because, you're down to 10 men and playing in a horrible atmosphere, at altitude, you don't want to do too much running. So, we'll camp out. Garcia has just joined Getafe on loan. I don't know why I sighed for, but there's the confirmation that we spoke about a couple of seconds ago. But yeah, it was completely on Tuchel for me. I think it's something that Southgate would have got absolutely battered for. This was the moment. I thought we were completely ready now in terms of experiences and quality to go over the line, but it didn't happen. It's a shame for obviously Conser and Rodgers. Rodgers obviously, had as you say, a big part in that goal. Similar cross to what he produced against Bournemouth away a couple of seasons ago when Watkins. Was that the goal that broke the record? I can't quite remember. I think it was.
Yeah,
we're now gonna lick our wounds again for that. And 4 years again that we've got to wait for another stab at a World Cup, but it was just same old England in the end, which is a real shame because I just thought you're 1-0 up in the 55th minute. Everything's going well for you. Argentina don't want to face runners. They don't want to be the goal down. It's all on them, so much pressure, and then all we do is just play completely into the hands. So massively disappointing. And to be honest, I said to some of my mates, I think Tuchel should probably apologise to the players because I think they deserve to be in the final. They've given so much, and they're clearly so tired from an exhausting season, many of them in the Premier League. I thought he should have apologised to them, genuinely, because I thought it was, bordering on a disgrace what we were doing in the last 30 minutes to get to a World Cup final. Madness.
I felt it was so avoidable as well. I mean, I think we won't bang on about this forever because, we want positive news that Villa are recruiting and rebuilding, not that England are England again. But I just felt like it was, like you've just said there, everything that Argentina wanted us to do, we did, and everything that they wouldn't have wanted to do, we stopped doing, basically. And I saw some analysis from Tim Vickery, BBC or somewhere last night, saying that as well. And I think Tuchel, it was just, listen, it wasn't the hardest route that a team has ever had to the semi-final, but I felt like the country were with him as well, and that we built momentum, and there seemed to be like a really good spirit in the squad, a really good connection between the fans and the players and the nation back home. And listen, if Villa would Villa, God, force of habit that if England would have gone down all guns blazing last night, and it had been a real kind of heroic defeat, I think Tuchel would have carried that goodwill forward. But I think he's really kind of, I'm not saying like sack him today or whatever, but I think he's really undermined what could have been, a really kind of positive start for him. But I
totally agree.
Anyway, one final thing from me. You've been quoted. Well, you've been quoted by Fabrizio Romano, John. So you've here we go. You finally made it, my friend.
That's when you know you've made it.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Forget Istanbul, mate. Forget Istanbul. Fab's just quoted you. So
and then one final thing on Gomes as well before we clock off. I suppose again, him being settled in the area, there's probably something to be said for that. I'd be interested to see if Wolves fans I assume the last club they would want him to sign for is Villa. But for the player himself, not relocating, or at least very far, knowing the Premier League, knowing the area, all of those different things, that will help, I'm sure. It's another thing altogether, adapting to Emery's demands, etc. We've seen that before, haven't we? But a full pre-season as well, again, should this be completed in the next 24, 48 hours. I think there's a lot of positives to the move, and one which... we should be excited by and happy about. So, I think are we there, Matt? Are we done?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know what the kind of South American steak restaurants are like in Wolverhampton, but I can recommend Radizia Rico at the Mailbox anyway.
Can I? Yeah, so, absolutely.
My belly grumble now. I'm just going to have a steak for my breakfast now. So.
Oh yeah, I wish. Right.
No, okay. I think we're done. Yeah, listen, Johnny. Like I said, it's not easy trying to kind of go and get all the transfer exclusives and stuff like that. So the fact that you've been able to kind of get this out and get it out at a time when, certainly,
where the nation needed it.
Well, that's it. Yeah. So if the future king's watching, Sir Townley, make it happen.
No,
brilliant. I'll let you close out the show.
Cracking, Dan will be back soon, and he's all good, don't worry about him, but we thought we'd jump on and just shoot a quick video because of this big news. So thanks everyone for watching. Apologies that I haven't been too active on the chat. I'll be totally honest, I completely forgot that I could look at them. But Matt, to be fair, you covered that, so Yeah, box ticked for us. Dan won't be too displeased. Right, thanks everyone for watching, and up the Villa.
Up the Villa.